It's alright if you love me. It's alright if you don't. I'm not afraid of you running away, honey. I get the feeling you won't. There is no sense in pretending. Your eyes give you away. Something inside you is feeling like I do. I've said all there is to say. Break down, go ahead and get you, baby. Break down, wanna take you through the night. You wanna break down. What's up, everybody? It's all right. It's all right. It's all right. You know, they can't get me for the copy right when I sing. So, how are we doing? Other than out of tune, off key, and a little demented. How are we feeling today, my friends, my fishy friends, my non-fishy friends, my fish adjacent friends, and my fish affiliated friends? We doing good? I don't know if you guys heard that pop. That was my sternum, something in my sternum. I don't know. Something probably not my actual sternum. That probably made me explode or something. But hey, Prodigal, how's it going? Von Lurker, what's up? And OC Urban Gardener, John Monroe, Radina, Tommy, what's up, buddy? Aquatic News Network. Man, you've had some names, but I like Tommy. You know, I'm gonna stick with Tommy. Jawbreaker, what is going on? Lady New Guardia and Johnny Bess, CC, David Rayner, and Claire. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Come on in. And Christy, hello. And also, we've got a Robert in here as well. What's up going on? What's up going on? What's up going on? Music talking like Jar Jar Binks. HB also. Come on in. The water is lukewarm and full of electric eels. Johnny, thank you so much. My good man, my best man, really. Johnny Best gifting a fishery membership for one of you lucky sons of a pistol, and you guys get access to the behind the scenes stuff. You know, I've been doing some live streams here and there for members, especially like I decided when I can't sleep, if I'm working on a video but I haven't put out a video in say 2 days, I'm gonna start live streaming to members, and then we do the 2 live streams a week is the goal. Other than that, on Tuesdays and Fridays, if all is going well, which the last 6 months it has not, but you know, we try. Jack Barlow, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah, I'm feeling okay today. You know, I'm a little off kilter just from all the meds they have me on all the time. Watch me get this podcast, this live stream booted. My buddy got me this stack, and it doesn't say what is on the screen right now, but I think you guys can work out what it says when I literally show you the fact that I've got, like, you know, all these, like, they had me on like 5 antibiotics because they literally had me on so many that were on low dose and not actually treating the problem that it became completely resistant, and really some scary stuff. I hadn't shared that with y'all, but I mean, I did a little bit, but I just got my first screening back in 6 months, and the wound from surgery in July, which at the time after surgery, they healed up and they thought, antibiotics, so to get rid of that. It didn't. It stayed in my leg for 4 months. And then the rocks that were also stuck in my leg or foot and ankle, when they came out, the infection reactivated, went into my bone in my leg. And hopefully I'm getting an MRI in the next few days. And then hopefully it's out of my bone for good now. We hope that we're going to double check that. But for sure, I had a biopsy done last week, and I got the news today. It's clear for the first time. Just normal bacteria that should be in your body and on my body is back. It's back. We're back, baby. What it was a little off was there was like way overpopulation of a few like really common bacteria that are harmless, but like apparently it's because I've been on antibiotics for the better part of 5 months now, and that's terrible for you. So yeah. But yeah. So yeah. Spinster Sister says, "Yeesh, Alex, what the hell? Prayers and positive vibes for you." Well, thank you. Honestly, I've shared with the channel some of what I've gone through recently, and some people who are closer to me know how close it's been a couple times to me not even being here, as scary as that is. But we had a brush with organ failure due to the multisystemic infection and it going to the brain. That was over the summer, obviously. But then we also had another brush with that later, and in December. And I've been going to the wound clinic since the end of December, twice a week, or once a week, depending on how things are. And so finally, I have hope of my life getting back to normal. I haven't gotten to go do talks or speeches or get on a plane since June. And I was literally traveling somewhere. I had plans for every 3 months, every 2 months. I was going somewhere to talk for a while there. And I feel like I've lost almost all momentum on that. And I really want to get back out there, see you guys, come out to different parts of the country. I mean, I had to turn down a trip to Colombia and turn down a trip to Barcelona. And I've never, who has gotten offered for a trip to freaking Barcelona, let alone Colombia? And that was like flight, I would have chipped in for accommodations and things. But yeah, that was heartbreaking when I feel like I've been working towards this. In my head, I've been wanting to do something in the aquarium sphere for a decade now, full time, and I have been. But then 8 years on YouTube, 5 really kind of trying to do it full time and or working selling fish full time. Like that was the thing, is like I was either doing YouTube or graphic design or selling fish. And about 5 years ago, I decided I want to do all fish. I kind of want to back off the graphic design. So unless it was tangentially fish related or they were paying me like corporate money, like FU money, then they had money to burn. Then I just was doing that and making way less money, and racking up medical bills. And then we bought a house. So it was kind of this insane time that my wife's like, "Are you sure you know what you're doing?" But I hope now that like I'll turn the corner and we can kind of get things back on track and back to like moving around and stuff. But yeah, chronic illness is no joke. And then I mean, I never thought a cut, just a cut from a piece of glass, could trouble your life for like, it'll probably be a year when all is said and done. So insane. Where is your stock list? How do you order? I don't do that anymore. It was literally stuff I bred, and I had about 60 species at my peak, like coming and going every, I'd say 4 months. There were about 60 species in a 4-month cycle of the different things I was breeding. Because I had 32 tanks up and running, and in several of those tanks there were 2 things breeding, or like a live bear and a cichlid, or whatever, something like that. And then I had like 18 tanks of plants. But now, honestly, I'm down to, we'll do a big tour soon of all my tanks and an update. I just bought another rimless tank it was a good deal. It was an ADA, a true ADA rimless, and didn't have to pay shipping or anything. It was already at a shop that was trying to get rid of it on sale. So I got it for $189, and it's a $300 tank normally. So even though I'm like whining about money and stuff, like I decided to buy myself a tank, and that's going to be the new centerpiece tank it's a 60P tank is like the model number. If you know UNS or ADA brand, or Mr. Aqua, Top Aqua, you know, all those kind of brands, they definitely kind of use that ADA system, but it's generally like either a diagonal measurement or a bottom measurement as the first number, and it's usually in centimeters, and then they do P for tall, U for front to back width, wide tanks, and then like L for really long ones that are either shallow or tall, but they're, you know, narrow and really left to right long. And yeah, so that's how that works. Chris in the desert, what's up? How are you guys doing? Christy Midgley says, glad to hear you're doing better. I have a small betta with 4 platies and a heavily planted tank, 20 gallons. What else can I add? Something colorful. That's a really good question. It's a really common question. I do enjoy that. Also, I wanted to say, Radina, you know, I will hopefully have a limited stock list again at some point in the future. But right now, I just don't feel like it's responsible for me to have like a bunch of irons in the fire, so to speak, with living creatures and be breeding them. And then like if I get stuck in the hospital, or if I'm told bed rest and your foot elevated for 4 days and I can't do water changes, let alone like, you know, doing brine shrimp and taking care of live cultures and feeding baby fish 5 to 8 times a day, like I enjoy, I mean, not enjoy, but like the way I feel that baby fish should be kept, you know, I just don't want to do it at all. And that has kind of allowed the fish room to go by the wayside. And a lot of tanks that used to be like a standalone, only this fish in here, or like only this pair, like a pair of bettas. Now I've got like swordtails with a pair of bettas, with a school of white cloud minnows, with a few plecos, like really bizarre combinations that are kind of mad at. So yeah, but other than that, you know, things are okay in that most of the fish are like alive and well that I had this summer. Nothing has died in an untimely manner. And, you know, part of the problem, but also one of the nice things about keeping nanofish that I don't think a lot of people want to talk about, is the fact that like nanofish are not that long lived usually. A lot of them live 2 or 3 years, and that's kind of their life. If they live 5, it's kind of like, whoa, especially with the under an inch class of fish. And that's actually kind of great for me, because if you have 30 tanks and say you have 30 fish in each of those tanks or whatever, that would be every 3 years. Or, you know, that'd be a cycle that you could start a new tank of stuff every month for 3 years if you had 36 tanks, technically, but let's just say 30. And you could literally expect to lose an entire tank's worth of fish every month. And that would be just kind of normal operating mode, I guess. So, yeah. All right. Well, we also, I want to address this super chat really quick. Hey, and we've got the Melissa Skinner in here, which is awesome. I want to have her on the show soon and talk piranhas. They are super cool. Obviously, I've never kept any piranha. I think that might be a lie. I think when I was a little kid, my dad had one like in a tank to amuse me, kind of thing, and then we gave it to my cousin or something. But because it didn't do anything, and we thought, you know, the cartoon trope of like, you know, we put like a T-bone steak in there, and like the second we lifted it out, it would be gone, and just the T-bone left, or some silliness. That a 5-year-old boy and a whatever my dad was, 28-year-old man at the time would think. But yeah, so and Cassandra, what's up? Just saw this. Hey, well, welcome. Come on in. Then oh, I know, Radina, the black rice fish are really cool. The Saracenorum, those are really cool, rice fish. I have some of those potentially coming. Maybe I think I'm trading with a friend who has some of those, and I hopefully can trade some of the ones I just bred, which are I just bred some of the Mekong rice fish, the Mekong Delta rice fish that are like endemic to the Mekong River Delta. They're pretty boring. I'm not gonna lie. They're pretty clear, boring. They got a little blue and turquoise glow to them. They're really small, but they make for a kind of a nice little elegant top water fish. And yeah, I think they'd go great with like the orange auto sinkless or something like that. That I think they'd look really cool. But yeah. All right, I was gonna answer Christy's question, but also I'm gonna grab this super chat here first. I do see the other one as well, but I'm gonna grab these two questions first. And will this cover free parking at the doctor's office, Robert? Thank you, buddy. That will actually, and it is not free parking. I mean, isn't that frustrating? It's $8 an hour at the doctor's office. They have the nerve to charge you $8 an hour when they already bill me $1,700. Do I have that piece of paper sitting here? I'm about to basically dox myself with this ridiculous breakdown of the bill. It's not handy. I thought it was. But yeah, literally, if the doctor touches me with a glove on, it's considered a surgical outpatient visit by a specialist. And so they charge $1,690 something, like $1,700. It's what they charge the insurance, not me. I pay, well, I was paying I was paying all of it, but we hit 5,000, and that's my max for specialist visits. You get another max for drugs, another max for hospital visits or stays. That's called co-insurance. But anyways, we don't care about that. That's not important right now. What's important is thanking Robert for your generosity, and also it's important that we talk to Christy about some pretty options for her small male betta and 4 platies in a 20-gallon tank. Now, if it's a 20-gallon long, you're really in luck, because then you can even add fish that like the top water. It doesn't matter. Your betta will have plenty of room. Bettas want about 6 square inches, or actually, let me rephrase that. 6 by 6, so 36 square inches, I guess, total of like their territory. And that's not like a hard and fast rule by any means, but in a 20 long, that's 3 males in theory can cohabitate if they're not like super aggro. Now, they've found in a lot of studies that some males are so aggro, especially like domesticated fish in the hobby, that they will attack even in a swimming pool, like of 8,000 gallons. They'll go all the way across the pool and attack and mortally wound each other. So there's no size they found in studies for domesticated bettas that can ensure aggressive males won't harm each other. But that being said, bettas can be very peaceful, especially with cohabitating with other fish. So you have platies in there. They get a little bit mid-sized, and they're not aggressive fish, but they can be a little bit curious and nippy and a little bit dumb about social cues. And that may sound funny because you may assume all fish are dumb, or maybe you assume all fish are smart. I don't know. But a lot of people would not think of like social intelligence as something you think about for fish, but there is a social intelligence to fish. And they definitely, bettas, when they're constantly distracted by other critters swimming by, they're pretty chill usually. They feel at peace in their wild habitat. When you watch videos of wild betta splendens or betta embolus, what's the why can't I think of the Siam ornamentalis? The classic Stictos, the ones that are in the complex of the domestic betta. You really start to notice that there are a lot of sparkling gouramis, a lot of croaking gouramis, a lot of SP rasboras, things like Sundadanios, things like small gourami species, moon, all the way up to several spot gouramis, moonlit like gouramis. Sorry guys, I'm taking my socks off like a professional news anchor. I don't know if professional news anchors wear socks or don't, but I don't want, I don't want. But yeah, I would say Daniel's absolutely fabulous little fish, like some tin Winnie gold ring Daniels. That's not color like you asked for, but it is gold, and that will stand out with any betta. Really, really pretty gold. Hatchet fish are another one. A platinum hatchet fish or a hatchet Daniel. It's kind of an interesting like purple and gold combo or purple and peach combo, depending on their mood. Ember tetras are another great one. A Corydoras grouping of any of the either pygmy, histatus, habrosus, or maybe even like probably like your normal panda cory would work out. They don't get super big. So all of those things would be great. Anchor catfish, you don't see them a ton necessarily because they kind of blend in a lot. But a lot of people think those are pretty cool fish, and you could definitely put several in. Hill stream loach, like a reticulated hill stream loach or a butterfly loach, really would, they're cool. Depending on if you've got like a hang off the back filter or moving water, rather than like I wouldn't put a hill stream loach in just a sponge filter tank. Ideally, it can work, but I'm just saying for most people, I'd say hang off the back filter is better with some decent light, just to get that biofilm and algae layer there for any kind of autosynchronous or grazing catfish, pleco type thing. So yeah, I mean, you got a lot of options. You've also, I mean, just guppies, endlers, those can be incredibly beautiful. There's a lot of options out there that would get along. I mean, with platies, it would be kind of cool to do, mollies or, well, no, mollies are too big, but like something like a platy and one of the Lamia live bearers or one of the, any of the Postiliata, I guess, and see, or one of the small sword tails, perhaps like the miniature sword tails. You could do those, and or like the metallic chinned live bearers. They yeah, those would be interesting because they might cross with your platies, which would be kind of funky. Anyhow, all right, so we got a $20 super chat. I mean, round of applause. Hey, Johnny, man, I appreciate you so much. You do so much for this flippin' channel, buddy. You are a power horse. Literally, like, I know when Johnny's been here because like my revenue, and then because YouTube obviously likes to push channels and content that makes money. Literally, I see a bump in revenue, and then like an hour later, a bump in views, like without fail. And I'm like, oh, that was Johnny during the live stream. Like, I know it was. So it's kind of interesting when you become a slave to the algorithm, the little things you notice. But man, you are generous. And thank you. And I hope you're buying yourself some freaking cool fish with how thoughtful and generous you are with this channel, brother. Really do appreciate it. And appreciate all of y'all here. I appreciate everyone just for watching. Appreciate members. It all means a lot to me right now, especially with how the world is going. I know nothing is cheap. Ain't nothing here for free. Ain't nowhere to run to. There ain't nothing here for free. Oh, Baltimore, ain't it hard to live? Let's see here. Darbwire, what's up? Coro, good to see you, brother. Freshwater allure. Ooh, alluring. Let me get down to more of Funky Town, more of the live stuff. We had someone said, hey, from Scotland, fishing football, fishing rugby, fishing fish and cricket, fish and what other sports could we involve fish in? Fishing foosball, fishing soccer, which I didn't realize soccer is an English word, and Americans used it to differentiate like I don't know why I thought soccer was probably a made up American word, but no, it was called soccer first. I didn't know that. You all ye other people in the world are probably like, you ignorant American. Well, guilty as charged. Let's see here. Anyone want to get a Scottish passport? And universal health breaks my heart. Anything to do with the U.S. health service? Seriously, yeah. I'm seriously debating a move, because for me, with my my life is not going to get easier, and they're gonna, with autoimmune disease, they nickel and dime you forever. It's like cancer research or AIDS research. They don't want to fix you. They want you to take a really expensive medication. And they've got some pretty decent ones now, but I can't afford them. And when I went to France, for instance, I was able to get all my medications. Italy, all my medications. Even Canada, pretty good with my medications. But they watch Canada because everyone tries to buy from Canada and bring it to the US and stuff. But even just that, like, let alone the visits and things, like, it's months wait in the US for me anyways. I don't know about anybody else seeing a specialist, but like it's not like, I mean, any socialized healthcare I've seen, they're like, you have to wait sometimes 2 to 4 months to get into a specialist. And I'm like, I had an open wound that took 3.5 months to get in for, that was infected actively, and all they did was write me more antibiotic scripts that weren't fixing it. So I mean, there's horror stories. What do they say? 40,000 Americans a year die of medical malpractice related issues. Pretty wild. Anyways, sorry. I need to stop this. I need to stop yapping about this. All y'all healthy people don't care. All y'all all y'all unhealthy people don't already know and don't need to know. But yeah, anyways, I wanted to I need to like keep more positive. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. The other thing, let's see here. Boop, boop, boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop-doo-doo. How do you do the thing on YouTube? How do you do that thing on YouTube channel? And that's, oh, yeah, smelly socks off the air. Yeah, I know. Nin says, had to remove the Corys and Autos from one tank because Neocardinas were eating them a lot. Oh, what? I feed them, but I think my snail probably is out of hand and creating competition with it. You know, I think that the shrimp are probably just eating biofilm off of stuff. Oh my goodness, guys. Hold on. I'll show you what's going on over here. This is just cat, really. The cat, hey, okay, she stops the second I point over there. But she has Jolly Ranchers and, I don't know, a knife. What do you have? A knife? You have a spoon and a knife, and Jolly Ranchers and a pack of Band-Aids. And she takes my Jolly Ranchers. I'll put like 3 or 4 on the counter as like my treat, because that's better than eating like a cake or drinking a whole soda. Is like, I'll just have a Jolly Rancher and walk off. Well, the cat will take my Jolly Ranchers now, and she just runs away and hides them randomly. And I'm like, what the hell? And so, like, under the couch the other day, my wife and I moved the couch, and there were like literally 20 or 30 Jolly Ranchers from the last month. And we hadn't even noticed it was a thing. She takes like one from a stash of 3 or 4, and I just assumed it was my wife this whole time. And I was like, hey, can you stop eating all the green ones? Like, I like the green ones, and there's never any left. And I pull them aside, and then I think, are you just eating them all just to piss me off? And she's like, what are you talking about? And, you know, here I am looking insane. Well, that stash under the couch, like, 70% green. Uh, uh, Johnny has told me, you know, I need to get more footage of the cat and incorporate the cat on this channel. And I think that might be correct. She is quite a handful, and she definitely needs to talk more also. Aquatic Moose, what's up? Doom Pie, what's up? Also, Fish and Football, HB can confirm. Defo Muppet Show news with Kermit the Frog. Hello here, Kermit the Frog on my lily pad. Do you have any advice for looking for aquarium rocks and wood in the forest? Forest has a lake. That's always a good start. Yeah, stay away from train tracks, like, because there's a lot of creosote, like from the ties and stuff. A lot of people think train tracks rocks are good to use. They're not. There's a lot of junk and just like dust break and coal tar and all sorts of crud and pesticides and stuff that just blows off trains and produce and goods that are on trains. It's kind of like using rocks from a ditch right next to the freeway where like you just don't know what could be on it. It might be okay, but you just don't know. But yeah, rocks out on the edge of a lake in a forest sounds lovely. I don't usually take rocks from the water because I don't want like them inundated with algae or protist or worms or something. Even though I usually would dry them first, but I have actually several videos about how to harvest wood, the wood types that are poisonous, how you can make them not poisonous. Basically, the answer to that is, I think I call it the 5 S's. It's like salt, sun, I made up some S word for time, seasoning, seasons, like you can give it a year. But like there's things like cedar, juniper, ironwood. There's stuff that you don't want to put in the fish tank, obviously, especially fresh, like really bad stuff for the fish, like cedar, no good. But most stuff is fine at the end of the day. Black walnut, really bad. Black cherry, not great. Normal cherries, usually good. I don't know the difference, to be quite frank, but there is some sort of cherry tree that is an issue. Yeah, Chris Howell, what is up? But yeah, I mean, find the rocks you want. Find the rocks you think are cool. I love using cuts on the freeway where you see like they dug the freeway through like a rolling hill and there's like tilled earth that's just kind of slid down and they brought in maybe some rocks. That's really common on the coastal parts of America. I know that might not be common in the Midwest so much, but like they do it all the time. So I know in like the Badlands in Montana too, but they do it a lot where anywhere where there's rolling hills or mountains, Appalachia, you'll see it. And you'll see in Appalachia, you see a ton of sandstone, unfortunately, or siltstone and limestone that's doing that. And that's not always the best to put in your aquarium. / it's a lot of times inundated with bacteria, which might be a good or bad thing depending on your goals. I don't know. But yeah, it's just already got life on it. And so I like to use dry rocks. Anybody that lives in like the northern third of the United States basically has access to something within 100 miles that is going to have like fields of sand, silt, and just crazy random rocks from all the way north, all the way up to the Arctic Circle that have been pushed down over time as the glaciers have melted, receded, gotten pushed, and it's called glacial till. You can find maps of where the stuff is on American Geological Survey website. They've got like your local county, they'll have a map of your freaking neighborhood, but they also have like big regional ones, state ones, county ones, and they have color coded things telling you, well, look for glacial till, and that will have awesome or glacial deposit. That is, or conglomerate, glacial conglomerate. It's another one. That means that it's kind of stuck together, but usually it's loosened up, that it breaks up when they like make a road or anything. But yeah, that's a really good one. Where can you go for better healthcare? Darboy says, where you don't have to be a citizen for it. Better. I could get way better healthcare than I currently get, which is unfortunate, in any European country or Canada. I in Mexico as well. When I was down there, I got better care for just normal stuff. ICU, I don't know. Maybe I was really lucky to be in the US for like critical care. I hear we're pretty good. But for like, I need this medication, I know what's wrong with me, I hear, and it's a common thing, like that I need a prescription for prednisone and anti-inflammatory and Benadryl or whatever, stuff like that. That I can get even paying cash, even not being a part of their country or paying taxes. The cash price in almost any other country is like a quarter or less of what it is in the United States, which is super screwed up considering like what, a quarter of people in the US don't have insurance even still, which, you know, Obamacare was supposed to fix, or whatever, the Universal Health Care Act. But then a lot of states said, we're not going to give out federal money. Now that money's probably going to get taken back because they're trying to look for money from more places. So any of the red states that said we're against Obamacare, we're not going to accept the allotted money for places like Idaho, right next to Washington. Washington gets $1 billion a year from the federal government just for health and human service issues, and they can allot it how they see fit. Well, we do people who make under, I think, 40,000. We basically give them health care, and essentially that covers like a good chunk of that. Well, Idaho, they said no, we're against it, and not until then when Trump got in, they started saying, okay, we're going to cover it now. And then when he went out again and Biden came in, they cut it off again. Anyway, so they couldn't rely on it, and a lot of insurance companies pulled out, or they pulled out before that. So the U.S. is a weird patchwork, and that's why like fish laws on like what medications are allowed, what you need to go to a vet for, you know, it's also kind of hit or miss. It's not one big thing anymore, and it used to be like pretty consistent where you could know like, this is America, this is how it's going to be. But now, you know, and this okay, I'm gonna try to not talk about politics, but I just want to talk about like mindset of our hobby and how things have changed. And it's like, I feel like we're getting trained, whether it's by algorithms or media or social media or whatever, life, to be like tribal, you know, to be, oh, I use Substrate, or I use this brand of Substrate. And that's even like an elitism within the people who use Substrate, is like, what kind you use? Or I only use organic dirt. I use kitty litter because I'm a chemist and I can make this concoction and supercharge it, even though my plants will never have CO2 or highlight. So what's the point? You know, like, sorry, tangents. But my point is that like, there's a lot of these factions, and that's fine. It's great to have diversity, to love things, do different things, try different things. But it is increasingly common that when you tell someone, hey, I love red hats, they're going to assume, oh, you're a Trumper, or oh, you're a MAGA person. So what are your pronouns then, or whatever, or I bet you want my pronoun. Like, it's like, what, how did we jump from like this to this to this in like 2 steps? Like, and I feel like that's happening in every part of society lately, where like, oh, you watch Father Fish, okay, well, what kind of, you know, or, you know, how many inches of sand do you have? 40, you know. And then another person might take it as, you don't know who Father Fish is? Well, you are a sellout to big corporate chemical companies like Seachem and Zoomed. And it's like, guys, whoa, like, how do we go from 0 to 60 and get so like black and white? And why do we care what other people are doing about a lot of these things? So I don't know. That's my soapbox issue for the moment. I'll get down now. Katie Flores, hello. Let's see here. I'm gonna scroll down. I got behind on chat. I always do that, but yeah. David, hello. Good to see you. Ira, hello. Ira says, we can't be here in Canada, so we can finally be able to pay for our healthcare as we need it. People being told to go home and die from cancer, where a U.S. doctor will tell their patient they can cure. That happens in the U.S. all the time. My 3 aunts who all died of cancer, all of them could not afford the quality medication or treatment plan, and all 3 died on my dad's side. His 3 sisters are dead. They got the cheap generic stuff when there are 2, in the case of breast cancer, which 2 of them died of, 2 better medications. So, I mean, that goes on even in the best healthcare system. If you don't have enough money, you're screwed in a lot of countries. But in some countries, they'll treat you. In America, they will usually treat you. You might have to go broke first. But actually in the US, if you're completely broke, healthcare, you get the bare essentials way better than our like middle class, which you have to go through the process of losing everything. You can't have more than $2,000 a month, federally speaking, coming in as income. That is the poverty level. Anybody who can live on $2,000 a month for their house, that's insane, especially in Seattle. So, I mean, I don't know if you can support your fish room on that these days. But yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, Richard Bunt, what's up? Let's see here. Why are the rice fish on in why are the rice fish on in Japan? Why were wait, hold on, Brandon, did you say anything else? I just used dirt for my old raised plant bed. Hey, that works, man. That works. I hear you. Hello from Nola. Right on. Nolans. Good to see you. Robbie Rob, Bob, Robert. What's wrong with my brain today? Alaska. Where's Alaska? Indoor fishing inside. What's up? Anna Tamon. Hey, what's going on? It's super weird. I have received more disability benefits in Idaho than I did in Washington. Medication and stuff has been more complicated. Yeah, Anna, and stuff's always changing. That's my point. Is like for years, like when the ACA was new, there were like it was a big issue. Then for a while they covered everything, then they like stopped, and then I don't know what they've been doing the last like 6 years or whatever. I mean, I'm no expert in any of this either. I just know dealing with my life. The fact that if you make more than 26,000 a year before taxes, that they don't consider you in need of medical aid in Washington, unless you're single and you can apply for like billing assistance, which there's subsidies for, and that's under if you make under 48 or 43 or 48K, but it's complex. You have to pay first and then you get paid back basically. So it doesn't really help like if you have like a mortgage or anything. Can you use grape stems in your aquarium? That's a good question. I don't know. I feel like I read somewhere that grape stems have some chemical in them that's nasty, but I know they have really good tannins and stuff. And I know grapevine has been used in aquariums I've seen. I just don't know the details. The only thing too is that grape stems have been treated by pesticides very frequently, or sprayed with fertilizer / pesticides. And that could be of concern, especially with like shrimp, snails, your microflora and fauna, even if like your fish handle it. So this is something I was just thinking about, and I was like, I should make a video on this, but I have a bunch of cool footage from Friday that I still am editing that I want to make another like list type video out of. But I just, I was thinking about like all the things we care about in the fish world that don't matter, like things like, oh, this mercury in my fish's tank because there's a thermometer. I'm making this up. This thermometer might leak mercury. Well, then my fish might get mental issues. Who cares? It's a freaking neon tetra. What kind of mental issue is it gonna get? It's not gonna go to college? What? I don't understand. Like they don't live long enough that it's an issue. This is not like a most people will never have an issue with like generational inherited issues from genetic mutations due to like some obscure ingredient in a food like a preservative or whatever. But you do need to worry about the stuff that kills your fish, like that fish's lifetime. But there's a lot of things that people are like, well, what about the trace amounts of this or that? Or what about, for instance, sulfur gas bubbles in the substrate? Those things go here. You heard it here. I've done a video on this, but a sulfur bubble, any bubble that's in your aquarium's substrate, it could be, I don't care if it's 80% of your aquarium substrate. It could bubble and go up. You could pop a bag of CO or CO2, anything that's not any naturally forming gas from natural processes, CO2 is probably the most dangerous out of all of them, or maybe CO, probably CO, because it would hang low in the tank a little longer. But even in an average room, it's going to diffuse and move around. And the amount that could fit in a tank, realistically, let alone if it was a bag, but I mean, realistically, people have had their CO2 tanks burst, 20-pound tanks of CO2 burst in a bedroom in the basement that's made out of cement, and they still did not get suffocated. It's going to, one, spread to the lowest space in the room and coat that. Then it's going to diffuse and mix around. Same is true with like sulfur in your tank. Yeah, if you like put your fish in that bubble of sulfur and somehow held it as a bubble and made your fish breathe it, yeah, it would suffocate. It's not good for it. Especially there are some sulfur gases that are also fairly toxic. But they move throughout the water column so quickly once they've been exposed to the water column. They break up one into pieces, and then oxygen and other things mix with it. That creates all even secondary chemicals, tertiary chemical reactions, and so on. And then it moves up and out of your tank and into the room, and then throughout your house, whatever. So you don't need to worry about any of it. But a lot of people do fear those things. I feared what would happen if I'm sitting here in my bedroom back when I had my CO2, 20-pound CO2 tank. It's bigger than a scuba tank. What would happen if all that like released? And I mean, that would have to kill me, right? And I read this post that was a really well done chemist responding, and then a firefighter responding to that, supposedly. But they were talking about the math of it, and like even in an 8 by 8 foot room, you would be fine even if the air didn't get moved or leave the room just by standing at 3.5 feet or something like that. Like that would be all you need to not suffocate. And then if you just had the oxygen that was in the room at atmosphere, you would only have something like, I don't know, 12 hours or whatever of oxygen anyways, because if you were actually in that situation, or 8 hours or whatever it was. Point being, it would be a ridiculous situation and you don't need to worry about it. All right, let's see here. You folks that chime in, I bet you don't even have the animals we talk about. Let's see here. Somebody chime in. How long does a fish need to be riding the glass before you should be concerned? I don't worry about fish riding the glass. I don't know what you mean by that. Are you talking about like upside down and floating at the top? That you worry right away. But no, if you're just talking about them going up and down and kind of like brushing against it, if you see them specifically brushing against any like rough or tough object, and you see that their scale, or you see their scales are pine coning, their stomach is bulging or sucked up, or their eyes are bulging or gone. Either way, any of those things, yeah, it could be dropsy, it could be a wasting disease. There's a lot of viruses that go through the hobby too. And it could be a parasite. Then you got to narrow that down. But yeah, itching or flashing is really what it's called. The glass surfing can happen from stress. Corridor, for instance, they do it when they're in a good mood. They go up and down and up and down when they're in a good mood. That's like a pre-mating thing. And if you see them going up and down and one goes this way and the other one headbutts it in the belly, that's actually like how they flirt. That's right what they do right before they lay eggs with each other. Yeah, so kind of interesting, I suppose. So maybe on the grape stems. Yeah, maybe. I mean, you could try it. I don't know. I don't want to tell you. I don't want to say yes without knowing. To be frank, maybe somebody knows better than I can't say yes. I risk it? Probably. I wouldn't put it in like my favorite fish tank with like some really delicate, shrimp or something. But if you got a tank full of guppies or cherry shrimp and you want to see how it goes, like I would I would also probably do it, but I just don't want to lead anyone astray. I feel like I don't have the information, so I just can't tell you. Ham Sandwich, what's up? Any update, tips to deal with Hydra from the video you did 7 years ago? Hydra suck. Hydra really do suck. You know, they're basically little freshwater sea anemones. And I don't know what to say about Hydra other than improve your water quality. Try to remove as many manually as you can. A lot of fish will eat them, but only if you don't feed your fish for like 3 or 4 days. Then they start going to grazing, and then they're going to eat things like duckweed, algae, and cyanobacteria that they personally like in that species. To whatever their, I don't know why they like it, but it's their choice. Like right now, I could show you my tank in the other room, and it's had an algae bloom, so I haven't fed it, and the lights have been off for a couple days. And they've been eating the cyanobacteria and or the algae and the duckweed, and they're fish that would never touch that stuff normally. And I've got pseudomagills, rainbow fish, and apistogramma that are all three. I've watched them poop these like gnarly, long green, electric green castings, we'll call them. And that is definitely like them being hungry and just grazing on whatever. So it's interesting what things will eat, but a lot of times those little critters like Hydra, they'll get eaten that way. I've seen actual loaches will go out of their way to eat planaria and Hydra. Small loaches, small barbs, live bears sometimes do as well. They'll definitely go out of their way to do that. All right, let's see here. But yeah, I don't have a huge update other than there are products out there that will kill them. But if you have shrimp or you have delicate fish or you have snails, most of the products out there are dangerous to the shrimp or snails also. And I don't know your thoughts on killing all the other things that are going on in your aquarium, but a lot of people don't want to like kill all the, essentially sea monkey type life, all the little critters, all the little single cell organisms and amoebas and tardigrades and whatever. I don't know. I probably do want to kill the scuds, but the cyclops and the daphnia, things like that show up in your tank. A lot of people like try hard to get that. So yeah. Whoa, didn't know about the Corey thing. Thanks. You are so welcome. If you had the money, the time, the health to go anywhere in the world to collect specimens to study to put in your own tanks, where would you go? It's a great question. I would say, and also welcome and hello back to you in the Philippines. I just saw that message. But I would say probably Papua New Guinea, interior Papua New Guinea, or the border of Thailand and Myanmar and China, that kind of triangle, the Emerald Triangle there. Both places, a white Westerner would probably not want to go, probably not get permission to go to without knowing someone in an illicit trade, or maybe a Chinese business that has a mine or something they run there, a ruby mine or a logging mill in Papua New Guinea or Borneo. But yeah, those places sure have a ton of fish that I love. I mean, Lake Inle itself in the Shan province of Myanmar, it has 56 endemic species to a lake that is 21 miles long, I believe, 26 miles long. And at its widest, it's like 7 miles across. And it's only 14 feet deep at the middle. And it's an average of like 10 or 12 feet deep. It's basically a big marsh, but it's been there for 700,000 plus years untouched with fish trapped in there. And they all speciated from at least probably 12 fish, they think 50 have ended up being there in that valley. And so things like CPDs, erythromicron, rosy loaches, red lip gouramis, or sometimes called kissing gouramis, and sunset honey gouramis, the Red Tail Lake, Inlay Loach, the Lake Inlay Danio. All beautiful, cool fish. It's also like there's the other lake. What's it called? It was stuck in my brain. It's not Lake Kivu. That's another one I'd love to go explore and collect in and all that jazz. Hey, I just grabbed my phone to try to remind myself of a note, but Don, thank you, buddy. I really appreciate that. Don just donated via PayPal. And I mean, it showed up as about 12. So it's probably a conversion in currency of some sort, but thank you very kindly. Seriously, thank you. Much appreciated. He said for knowledge transfer. I want knowledge transfer to be free. If we can hold this rickety ship together for another like year, and we can get to like maybe 100K operating a framework. I just keep hoping that we're going to get to that point where, like, if I could off the ads alone make like 2 to 3K, it would take so much weight off me of making more like 1,500 to 2K right now lately, and maybe another grand or two on side hustle, this or that I've been trying to do, but my health's been bad. So then it kind of turns to like leaning on my wife, which I hate to do as much as she's a sweetheart and I love her to death. And, she's generous and all the amazing things I could say about her. But I just don't like doing that as the husband. Is that weird to say? Lake Nioki. So there are a million beautiful fish in Africa in that lake. I don't know what is up with that lake, why there's so many cool fish in that lake. Lake Nioki, I'm gonna guess, or Nioki. Like that lake has so many cool, like specific, like, oh, there's a crib that lives there. Oh, it's every color that's awesome. It's like a rainbow patchwork. Oh, there's a hemichromis that lives there. Oh, of course, it's beautiful in a million different colors. So yeah, that's another one I'd love to see. Lots of cichlids, lots of little like mid-sized, small-sized cichlids. And there's like incredible speciation of the African tetra species, which we have like none of in the American hobby hardly. I think there's like over 200 tetras known in Africa, and we have like, I probably shouldn't yell these numbers out loud, but I think we have something like 30 in the hobby, essentially in the US, and more like 10 that we ever see in any mainstream store. John says grapevines are best used in paludariums, mostly out of water. Okay, I appreciate that, John. I just don't know. I didn't know. So do you know if there's a problem using them? I'm guessing they have some tannins, might drop the pH a little bit, but I just don't know of anything. No planaria is shrimp safe. Drifters, yes, it is shrimp safe, usually, if you use as directed. There must be some compounding issues that make it not shrimp safe sometimes, though, because I know some people that have used it and and I think it's by far the best product for like getting rid of planaria, for instance, in a shrimp tank. Otherwise, it's nearly impossible. But yeah, it is a very similar product to nicotine extract, like out of tobacco essentially, and or caffeine out of coffee or tea. And it's basically it screws up the way the cells regulate their hydration and sending signals, but it like opens the floodgate and dehydrates the cells kind of in squishy creatures with tubules, which is a specific like niche that certain creatures use. And while snails and other things don't necessarily have like the same tubule system that like distributes water and nutrients and things, like it's like a vein system kind of, but but different. It's the same but different. Like it's like a hydraulic fluid line or something. I don't know. And yeah, I think it's just a matter of it. So it screws up those reactions. It basically overstimulates them, and then they either like overheat is one of the ways they go. They also have dangerous cat attacks that come out of nowhere. They all just jump on the planaria and chew their face off. No. So yeah, it's kind of interesting how it works. But yeah, I have had it kill a couple shrimp, like when I've done it, and then I've seen people be like, "I did what they said, and it totally killed all my shrimp." I've also had a lot of people say, "I did what it said, and it didn't kill any of the planaria." So I don't know where all the errors happen. But what's weird is that betel nut is actually a Schedule 2, I think. Hey, stop, cat! Don't put your butt on my head like that. I think it's a Schedule 2, maybe 3 illegal narcotic in the US. So betel nut, like you cannot have or caught or any of those chewing leaves or nuts or fruits from Polynesia. Kava is the only one you can have. But it's like straight up like UN illegal also. Like the international treaties and stuff make it illegal. Yeah, you can buy a bag of the extract that literally says betel nut on the bag from Japan. So they must just not be that concerned with a big old bag of pure betel nut extract. It must not be enough of a problem. I mean, it's probably not any sort of intoxicant. It's probably like a just kill you kind of ride. So maybe that's it. I mean, it definitely says not to, not to consume. 28,000 more subs to go. Ryan, thank you, buddy. Ryan Stone on Canadian Gaming. Thank you. Working on it. Working on it, buddy. Johnny, you're having difficulty breeding ember tetras. They're a tricky one. You know, they're bred in the hobby. They're bred in captivity in Asia a little bit. Indonesia, they do it. Vietnam, they do it. But they tend to catch them wild a lot still too. Kind of like neon tetras and cardinal tetras. They're like most egg scatterers, they're gonna need a pretty low pH probably. That's my guess. Is the issue is they want like a 5 or 4 pH that they've slowly gone to. The other thing that a lot of people hit with small tetras or rasboras or that kind of thing, pencilfish, any little cyprinid that's small, it may be a seasonal spawner in that you may have to fatten it up with live food. Try to separate the females and males as best you can by looking at their bellies and just kind of their behavior, who's a little more colorful, who's got a rotund belly, when you haven't fed them for a day or two still, that kind of thing. And then try to split them up if you can, if you got 2 little tanks or a divider or whatever. I mean, that may help just a little bit. That can help give it a nudge. But then the other thing that really helps is having another species that you know will like kind of mate on cue. So if you have a good pair of Pleco or Corys or angels, something or cribs that you know is going to spawn readily for you when you do, say, a water change. Like every time I do a water change, these little Corys spawn. That's perfect. Just take like get them in the mood, and they don't even like doesn't matter if how successful they were at spawning, but just the fact that they're in the mood to spawn. When you see that activity, steal some of their water and put it in the water with the ember tetras, and that we don't know what's going on there. This is definitely voodoo, definitely make believe. No empirical evidence of any of this. But it is a wives' tale that's been used for a long time in the fish hobby. It seems to work for me. I have definitely noticed that when one fish starts getting jiggy with it, a lot of other fish start getting jiggy with it. Same with like, you do the fake wet season trick where, you let the water evaporate down out of the tank, you add some leaves for about a month. You do this and you actually allow the water to get really tannic, maybe get kind of green watery, and allow like Daphnia infusoria, those kind of things to be in there. Or you start slowly adding like brine shrimp or Daphnia or infusoria so that the fish are eating live food suddenly. And then they put on this extra protein. And then all of a sudden, like you can go from very low light and basically not even having much filtration running on the tank to running a hang off the back filter or a power head in the corner, depending on the size of the tank, and allowing them to get in the mood that way. But they have very tiny eggs, are very hard to see. I've never seen like same with like chili reservoirs. I've never actually seen the eggs. I don't know. Phoenix reservoir, chili reservoir, Kubota reservoir. So many of the fish that I've bred, I've never seen the eggs. I don't know what the eggs look like. I think I see an egg and it's like a piece of freaking sand, silica sand. And that either needs to be in like a layer of moss or a Swiss-Wassertongue, or you can have a mesh like that it falls down in between and then like a section at the bottom. But know that sometimes that also can be like a double-edged sword unless it's very acidic water or under, say, about 6 pH. It needs to be under that for it to safely not have the bacterial and fungal starts that would just instantly turn that puppy into a white snowflake of mold and stuff, unfortunately. So yeah. Let's see here. Tangents. Ryan said, I've purchased Mopani wood off of Amazon and the tannins killed my guppy and bristlenose tank a while back. Dumb me, didn't boil the wood. It could have been that, but I bet you, I mean, yes, it was the tannins in the sense, I'm sorry, I'm not smiling at that, but sorry that happened. I'm guessing that yeah, I'm guessing it changed the pH, and I don't think the tannins themselves will kill much of anything. I mean, it's kind of like the mouthy feel of wine. Like I don't think anyone's died from that. I don't know. Maybe if we bathe in it all day, it would be an issue. I should put no planaria. Oh, yeah, never mind. I'm not going to read that comment. It's a joke, but let's see here. Aquarium Co-op has 1.1 million subs. You can do it, Alex. Our community is large enough. Well, I don't know if I'll ever make it. You know, I tried to work with him over the years and things and watch that grow. I talked in my most recent video about some of the reasoning why I think like the space gets pretty crowded for intro level info. And then those people searching info don't really look super deep for info, which is fine. I mean, they're going to get the info they need from Aquarium Co-op. It's a fine source. It's a good source of info. They also have a brand that's out there. So it's, you know, it makes sense to people in their brain when they're like, oh, I'm at the store. Maybe I'll check this out, and vice versa. But yeah, those main players kind of got to set who the big names to go to are. And then if they're not active accounts, they kind of fall away and someone new will rise. You know, keeping fish simple or, you know, Tanner Sherpa, like people that do a great job of what they're doing, but, you know, they're going to take over some of the like how to build a tank, watch this project, here's me doing this. And they don't necessarily get into the more advanced stuff. There's nothing, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that aspect of things. And I want to say Tanner and Serpa Design and Everyday Fish Keeping, Fish Keeping Made Simple, Fish Keeping Made Eat. I'm getting my channels mixed up. Anyways, you guys know the channels that are out there that are the big channels. And I'm not grouping them as the same kind of people ethically or anything. I'm saying just size wise and the fact that it's kind of geared towards either beginners or DIY projects or kind of that's something I've never seen for people who have been in the hobby for under a 2-year period probably, or they've just never been on YouTube and seen like, oh, that's what a fish farm looks like, stuff like that, which I think is important that folks are covering. but it does make for a pretty crowded space. And that's when I don't know if I can compete. Like a lot of people have the money up front for an editor or whatever, or to buy. I would love to buy B-roll, but it's like $1,500 a month just to license that stuff. But that would that alone would help my videos out a ton. And that's something that I know there are free options out there, but yeah, that's one little example of one of the things that a lot of people invest in, and that I just haven't been able to invest in a lot of these things because every time I try to invest in that kind of stuff, it's like, nope, you got a big bill coming, unfortunately. And so I've been kind of unfortunate. If you watch the channel, I mean, getting hit by lightning, heat stroke, kidney cancer, which isn't that big of a deal, honestly, because they'll just cut the kidney out when it's time. I haven't even shared all that with you guys, but it's a tumor that's not growing very fast at all. It's growing a couple millimeters in a year, so a millimeter in a year. So they're not that worried about it. But long story short, I have so many problems with the health that's why I end up ranting about it, is because it takes over my life. Because other than making fish tube and YouTube videos, I don't see many other people. You guys are my friends. You guys are my social group as well. And I shouldn't be using you as a sounding board for all my other troubles, But Fish and Football gave a flippin' epic super sticker, a 20-pound note. Man, came up and bought us both a pint of the fancy stuff. Thank you very kindly, buddy. I do appreciate that. My grandfather would be not rolling in his grave. What's the opposite of rolling in your grave? Just relaxing. He'd be toasting a pint in his grave. He was from Scotland, born in Scotland, moved to Seattle in 1911 at 1 year old. And yeah, he's Scottish. His extended family all stayed in Scotland, and I need to get over there. I've never been to Scotland. I had a layover in Heathrow, and that's as close as I got. Oh, and you did another $4 super sticker. What is wrong with you, mate? Crikey. No. Is there wait, this can't be real. Is there another 20? I am so confused. Did that just tell me that twice, or did you do it again? You sneaky little. Wait, and what is. I'm so confused. What is happening? Okay, here we go. I think he did it twice. Well, thank you. I mean, 4 beers. Let's get wasted. I don't drink, but you want to see something funny? My mom brought this over, guys. But anyways, yeah, my grandfather, it would blow his mind. He had fish too. He kept fish as a kid, actually. And that's why my dad had fish. But yeah, he had just a goldfish. That was always fine with him. Was he'd have a goldfish. He never had a fish tank really. My grandfather would have a goldfish in a goldfish bowl. Probably pretty terrible nowadays, right? He'd have kissing fish, which are paradise fish. Long black paradise fish is what he had, and he called them kissing fish, which I think was a name confused by the kissing gouramis and the paradise fish. But anyways, they do look similar. And he would have just found it so amusing because he passed away as the internet was kind of rising and AOL was around and stuff. But he would find it so amusing that I'm talking to a friend from Scotland live about fish. And have I met you before? No. Why am I talking to someone in Scotland about fish? Why are you listening to a crazy Seattleite American talking about fish? It's a wild world, but I appreciate it. I really do. Kitty, what? Oh, I understand what your problem is, honey. It's dinner time. It's dinner time and Kitty hasn't had her food. Is that why you're pawing me from left stage? No, Kitty, censored. Kitty, no, Kitty. Dr. Stepper, hello. Keep up great work for healing. Not an easy task. Well, thank you. I'm working on it. I'm trying. We're finally clear of MRSA, and then the other one that we had going for a while was just a streptococcus bacteria that wouldn't go away. I don't know what its problem was. Yeah, Drifters Workshop, I would love to meet you one day in person as well, man. I love meeting you guys in person, and I'm hoping to travel again soon because, like, when I travel, a lot of times I'll be like, "Hey, I'm here for the next day. Anybody around?" Like Grant Eater and I met that way, like I don't know, 7 years ago or something. Like before either he didn't have a channel even really. I mean, I think he made one, but he didn't start making content yet. But he was selling shrimp and stuff, and I went down there to check his setup out back when he had, I think it was like 120 fish or 120 tanks, which is still nuts. But now he has 500. I toured his house 4 or 5 years ago, and there's a video up on that of the most shrimp in America, biggest shrimp breeder in America. But anyways, I wanted to show you guys this. My mom brought this by. This is a piece of jade from Myanmar, and two wooden beads that I worked on a lathe. Big old wooden kukui. It wasn't koa. I think it was kukui tree wood or something like that. Anyways, I can't remember for sure. It's a Hawaiian wood that they make like ornamental stuff with, and they make like paddles for canoes and things with. But that, and then the jade from Myanmar, which is just where all my favorite fish come from by chance. And this is the kind of chunky hippie crap I used to wear in college, and I wore this thing for probably, I had this and I had an even bigger one. I had bling that was made out of hemp, and this is so freaking soft and comfortable. It is so worn in and gross. Probably it doesn't smell or anything. But it's been worn so much it's like worn down, and it's like a old jeans that fit well, or a good pair of tennis shoes you've worn forever and are about to fall apart, like right at their peak before they fail you. But I had another one that was obsidian that I had flint knapped, and it was like an arrowhead, but I had flint knapped it to be as dull as possible. Careful, honey. The cat is on the rampage. And hello, honey. So, guys, oh, holy smokes, Johnny, buddy. $50, 50 buckaroos, 50 simoleons, as they would say on Dukes of Hazzard, 50 skrilla, 50 clams, bones, shells, puka. Wow. Man, dude, you are so generous. Seriously, thank you. You're feeding my cat right now. Like she would be starving without you. That is how much you mean to me. I would have not fed my cat if you hadn't helped out. Does anybody else now suddenly want to give money? No, I'm just kidding. We would of course feed the kitty. But seriously, that really is very helpful. And it allows me to make more content, and I'm working on content for you guys. I have some cool ideas coming through my mind because as I said in my most recent like standalone video, I want to communicate to you guys more as a science creator and less as a specific fish keeper. Yeah, I want to make fish keeping content still too. But I've been talking with Adam Ragosia, and he's so good on creating content, working on YouTube, and he does food content, and that's a big like in the history of food, and the science of food, and the chemistry of food, and the culture of food, and it's super. I've always loved his content. And so I really do admire him, look up to him. Like I'm going to try to learn as much as I can when I talk to him every time. For the last year, I've been kind of chatting with him off and on. And he has a video he's still going to release about his rice fish biotope. And he did this nature tank. Then I think he kind of stepped back from the full on like Wallstead or Father Fish, like big, like that whole method type tank. I think he kind of went with more just like a natural approach of his own hybrid kind of vibe, kind of more like I do. Tank. And so we talked several times for a couple of hours. We recorded a conversation and kind of filled him in. And he was a quick learner, and he had done his research. And it was amazing how much the chemistry of like food, he's talking about anthocyanins and increasing the red or blue or purple in a fish. And like, is that going to work if I feed him this or that, or the astaxanthin and the lycopene and carotenoids? And it works identically to the way it works in food for pigment as it does in fish. And it's a small world, all the things that overlap. But as I was saying, he doesn't just teach food. He teaches the science of food, the story of this or that. And I want to some of it's hard because there's no film footage or documentary footage of fish keeping before 1900. I have actually there's one video, and I've already shared that with you guys. There is a 18 what was it 18 what do we say 1872 Lumiere brothers like hand cranked light projected basically, I mean, it's technically a video, but it's really more like, I think it's like 800 pictures that were made into transparencies that they would like crank on an overhead, essentially with a limelight showing through it, in France in the Opera House. But it's just of like gar and catfish and a couple other things swimming in this tank that definitely all did not make it through that day. But long story short, if I tell you a story from long ago, or if I talk to you about a specific fish, I don't want to just play B-roll of Amazon jungle. I want to find that fish, and I want to find footage of that fish. And doing that, everybody who films fish, other than like Ivan McColgie, who's a saint of a man to me, they tend to be like, I want $200 if you're going to use that clip. And I'm like, I think you should be paid, but the video is going to make maybe $38 total. Like, I can't give you that much. And I'm like, how about if I give you 10% of what I make on the video? And they're like, nah, I don't want to deal with it for that. Like, that's happened a lot of times. So I finally just need to get the license thing bought for like a service for a year that if anybody has any recommendations of good B-roll that actually has fish stuff, I can't find one that's under like $1,700 or maybe $1,500, which is a lot to pay each month for the rights. And then as soon as you stop paying, it would take down all your old videos in like a DMCA takedown or something, I fear. Alton Brown and Good Eats. Yes, I love that show. I was talking to my wife about that show recently. Lumpy Dog, what's up? Good to see you, Lumpy Dog. And Sketty Nona, good to see you also. Jeff Kane, also always great to see you. I was, some of you folks, I've seen you around, and Jody P, good to see you. Welcome. Come on in. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Come inside, come inside. So, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I want to set up the green screen back here, and I finally have a plan for the fish room. Waiting on hearing about how much it's going to cost to replace the drywall. The annoying thing is, I spent my late teens and early 20s patching drywall because of my stupid decisions and my stupid fists. A lot. Like, I've done it more than I care to admit for friends and myself back in the day. And now I can't like stand on a ladder, period, because of my leg. And I can't stand with my arms over my head for more than a few seconds without the back trouble and stuff. So I'm like, I can't even do the sheetrock or drywall repair that needs to get done in the fish room, and I just feel helpless. I'm whining again about health. Everyone's probably like, he's that whining channel. And I don't mean to be. It's just You know, I need to do a live stream, like just to no one. Just like pretend you guys are here and whine, and then I'll get back to the fish. But you know, when you guys ask questions, that always helps. It keeps me on track. What kind of aquarium related business school might you set up if you had 10 million? I can tell you exactly what I would do. If I had 10 million, Adam, that's a very, very interesting question. I was approached by somebody very seriously, actually two somebodies. Um, and I was offered at one point in time, I'm trying to decide how much to say. I was offered up to $30,000 or $40,000 in cash with no official strings tied to it as a put this into your channel or whatever you believe in, make a brand name, and then 50-50 split it with me later if it works. No worries if it doesn't. Now, knowing me, I could never take money from someone like that and just, unless they're like, you know, a billionaire or something, or really had a lot of money, and feel okay unless I totally fulfilled that, right? Or, you know, did my all to try to fulfill that. But, you know, that idea, he asked me and I turned it down because I said, well, it's not really enough for what I want to do. And what I would want to do is I don't want to sell you guys much of anything. Like if I opened a fish retail store, it would be a lot like Dan's Fish. Or it would be a lot like some of the farms in Florida, like Imperial Tropicals, that where they breed like their apistos and their cichlids and things like that, or Gilead Farms. I mean, all those places are great. Shop there; they exist. You know. Also, I would say, you know, Garden of Eater shrimp. Buy shrimp from him in the U.S. You know, where he breeds his own lines here. Neocaridina, I'd probably still buy the cheaper stuff. I'd go to Moonlight these days or Aquatic Arts, depending on what I wanted. But I mean, for any sort of caridina, I would go to Garden of Eater Shrimps, TGOE shrimps.com. You can use my name, or maybe, wait, actually, it might be Secret 10. It's either Secret 10 or Fishery 10. I think it's Secret 10. Back when my channel had a different name, it goes back that far. And you'll get 10% off your order. I don't get any like, he doesn't like pay me or anything for that. So that's just all for you. Just thank you, you know, which is, I try to get that set up with companies. If they want to give me a piece of the pie, that's fine. But I'm more concerned with, I want to, like, the people that I like, I want to be able to give you guys an incentive so that they can keep existing, basically. And if I get in good with them in the meantime, great. But I don't want to sell a thing. I don't like the feeling of owing someone something, even if it's as simple as, oh, I bought these shrimp and I really want your shrimp. And then I find out some died, or I find out like that a week into it, their shrimp died. And then I like literally stay up in bed worrying about it. And I know that sounds silly to some people, but like I really feel that much about like interactions I have with people, and if like it's karmically or financially like fair. And I don't know why I'm so troubled. Literally, what Joey King of DIY and I got in an argument about is like why I didn't want to turn ads on for the majority of my YouTube career. And when I finally did, the channel exploded. It went from like 15,000 or 20,000 members, and many of you were there, and I appreciate it that you guys were there then also. But it went from that size to, in the coming year, 6 months later, I had turned ads on, and after I turned the ads on, it wasn't a joke video. That's like, I don't know, number 20th in my top videos. Thank goodness. I would be so sad if that were my top video. That was my contribution to my legacy on YouTube. But anyways, him saying, dude, get all the money you can. But what he said was, YouTube's trying to make money. You better make them money. You better like squeeze people for super chats. You better do this or that, or they're not going to push your channel. That's why I do it. Everyone else does it. Get with the program and then start making something. Have a brand, sell towels, sell, you know, slap a sticker on some food and call it yours, like, or whatever. And I was pushing back against that, being like, I just don't like that. And that's kind of where our friction really started to build up, in that where we ended up arguing later. But really, that's when I first felt the like, oh, this is going down a bad way. If you guys have seen that episode, the way it ended, that 2 hour train wreck. But do you have any thoughts on black neon tetras and adding a school to a 90-gallon with glass bloodfin tetras? That sounds awesome. I would do black phantom tetras, just because I think it would look way cooler with the glass bloodfin tetras. The glass bloodfin tetras, incredible schoolers, incredible fish, cool fish, chill fish. Same with like rummy nose rasboras. I think it'd be cool to do a rummy nose tetra with the glass bloodfin tetra. And so you have one with red in the front and one with red in the back. I think it'd be cool to have both schooling fish there. But the stray in the backyard that you've been feeding looks like my cat. Aw, lumpy dog. Well, I hope it's not my cat. It's not my cat. She hasn't gotten out. Oh, but what I was gonna say is, and Mike, what would I say about the overall genetics of moonlight aquatic zebra plecos? Here's what I would say. They look very good quality. The source he gets them from has sent him as many as 200 at a time, and they always have thousands. So they have a lot of fish. Therefore, I would assume that their genetic pool, their breeding pool, their process is pretty dialed in, because that is not a fish that many people can claim that about. And even though more people have begun to breed them, and even breed them in mass, really, the people he gets them from have a lot of plecos that no one else breeds, like cactus and sunshine plecos, like green phantoms, stuff that's usually all wild caught. They're also able to breed in captivity in Asia. Pretty impressive. Haven't seen any genetic issues personally, and he's had that same source for his plecos, for most of his plecos, unless they're wild caught. He's had the same source now. I think it's going on about 5, maybe even 6 years since he was selling on Facebook, like just person to person. And I know people in this area that sell their zebras off of the line that he set them up with. So I think they're a pretty darn good line, probably even better than some of the stuff in the US that's at large other places. And for that matter, if you find any at, like, say, Imperial, there's a good chance they're actually coming from the same place originally, because they're so big that they middleman it to other suppliers overseas too. That's how many they have a Pleco specialty. Kind of interesting. Ryan Harris, what's up? Good to see you, man. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate the thought. I don't know if I'm that nice. I put it on a good act, but I kick babies in my free time as like the sport. But yeah, so what I was going to say is I have been offered several times now cash. The first time it was 30 or 40 grand, like for real, like sat down face to face, briefcase of money, essentially. No, I'll write you a check right now, essentially. I believe in what you're doing. And I was blown away. I was honored. I still think that person was great. They ended up putting their money elsewhere. They did help out the channel quite a bit in little pieces and patches here and there, and I will always be grateful for that. You know, they bought me an air conditioner in the middle of the summer when with my health was not great, and it was like 100 and something for days and days and days. 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago, and that like saved my butt and my fish. Like my fish were overheating. But anyways, so long story short is I've had 2 serious people sit me down and say either they want to mentor me / like go into business with me. They want me to have the vision, and they've got the backing and the money. And I think this happens to YouTubers in general, about their topic kind of thing. But they also saw like my grind for my independent business, like my tattooing over the years, the portfolio for that, the gallery of artwork that I ran, my graphic design studio, and used to have more of like web presence and stuff. Anyways, all of that stuff. So it wasn't like I was going to disappear with money or be flaky or anything like that. So what would I do with 10 million? The big question. I could do a lot with that. But what would I do with like even 2 million or even 100,000, maybe 200,000? I would make a program like with my nonprofit that's already set up. I would pay myself a living wage, and Ivan Mikolji probably a living wage, and his sister Yelka a living wage of like 50 grand or something, or a stipend of something like that. And we would use our skills if we had that kind of money and time. And we will probably do this in our free time very slowly. But this is the goal, ideally, would to be go and we would take pictures, video, photograph. We would go on the ground out in nature to where the fish are. We would document them. We would make a video. We'd do species spotlights. Then we talk with the local collectors and we would find out the infrastructure that goes on there. Then we would find out by sending the top 10 fish in a region, for instance, usually impoverished regions, places like Niger, Congo, Benin, wherever, these places that don't have a fish industry, but they have fish collectors that'll send it to Nigeria. And that is like enough to live off for them. My dream, and if I had a couple $100 grand, I could make it happen, would be to make fair trade fish and to essentially have a vetting process where we teach them basically like the water and well program that that goes on, where essentially we would do a micro grant or loan to people in the area who are already collecting fish and teach them how to use like aquaculture on the land for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. We'd do a workshop. We'd take pictures of the fish. We'd bring ichthyologists with us, and we'd, just find everything out there is to do. I'd do the research on it. Maybe I wouldn't even go on all the trips with my health and stuff. But my thought was, wouldn't it be cool to know that the fish you bought, that like 90% of the retail price, or not retail price, sorry, of the wholesale price landed, went to a farmer, an aquacultural fish farmer, and that they sustainably collected that fish. So they went out, they got some wild fish, then they farmed them. While you teach them to farm these ornamental fish, as they do all over Indonesia and all over Sri Lanka and Thailand. I mean, it's been done every tropical country you can imagine. It's done in Florida. You could also then teach them to grow things like tilapia, gourami, other fish, that catfish, arapaima, if you want, to other fish that they already have in their food sectors increasingly. And rather than letting it go out in the wild and just throwing a bunch of tilapia into, an Indian river or, sadly, Indonesian like micro ecosystem lakes, teach them that you can do a pond and you can literally have chicken feed and grow a certain row of plants here, and you can do the chickens and you can do the chickens or goats, and then you can do, teach them the basic setup of an aquaponic farm for their climate and kind of have a set course or package and go in and teach the village, like, here, you can dig a pond just out of dirt, very low money investment barrier. Go out, catch a fish, have an indoor setup to spawn the fish. You're going to need AC and electricity most likely in most of those cases, or they'd probably resort to going out and collecting fish. So you have to kind of strategically target where you're going. But I would do a nonprofit that essentially gives, 5-10 grand to start this up. Hopefully they'll repay it back by a small percentage. But then we would ensure that that money is going to the locals and it would go to studying that fishery, making sure that fishery is consistent, that it's going to survive, like Project Piaba. But they only do that in Project Piaba with the cardinal tetra. And then, you know, the Amazonas Research Center that Anthony Matrrial owns and runs, that's a nonprofit that works very similarly, where he's trying to teach the specific people of Iquitos, Peru, how to do aquaculture, so they'll stop throwing like gouramis and other like non-native fish out into the Amazon so that they can catch them later, like their favorite food fish from all around the world. They just throw in the Amazon, and it's causing a lot of problems. Not to mention pollution, you know, all these other things, overfishing, over collecting. And he's teaching them the aquaculture part, as well as the here's how you bag up and ship fish, and here's how easy it is. I mean, it gets done on it with a generator in a lot of countries, you know. So like pea puffers get collected, scarlet batis get collected. There's ways things get collected from the most remote places. So you can make that work, and then you can teach them sustainable food and protein, which is going to be a big problem in the future. Reduction in the use of water in general, but also utilizing water, which is most people live on water, and like on a water source or the coast. And then you know, from there you can also do everything, especially if you set them up with like an RO and solar powered pump well, and you know, that would be the dream. This is a big dream. But to do something where you empower the locals, and not some person who's rich who comes from the outside to exploit the fish, to exploit the labor of the locals, and to just allow them to barely get by. It would be empowering the people of the region to share the fish of their region and the stories of their region and their cultural affiliation, and the ecological and biological little subtleties that they notice that are ever getting lost as we lose species and we lose things over time. The Green Earth Alliance, our goal is to use Western money to pay developing nation grad students and professors to do work that they're willing to basically do the labor for essentially free. We pay for the materials, and they do projects that would be $1 million research project for under like 10 grand US. And a lot of times what they need is like gasoline and a wireless, you know, or a satellite phone or cell phone, or, you know, something as easy as a wireless card and a cheap laptop and a digital camera. That's what's stopping a taxonomist in Venezuela from being able to do to catalog 18 species, you know, that are waiting right there, that are described, and just nobody has that. So Johnny Best says, Alex has taught me a lot and it worked out. Everybody has their own way, but I connect well with. Oh, thanks, buddy. Thanks, man. I appreciate it, bro. Let's see here. Also, guys, Johnny is giving, and fish and football. We got the Scotsman and Johnny giving away memberships. You know, we kind of were going on a roll here on the length of this episode, but you know, I just really appreciate you guys. I do want to take care of having such a boring background. Remember, all my live streams used to be walking around, and then everybody was like, "Oh, we're so nauseous and dizzy. Stop pointing at your tanks." Well, now I want to get back to showing the tanks while we do it. So I might set up my just like little webcams that are like, you know, $50 or whatever, like this one. Trying to set those up pointed at the tanks in the fish room when I get them organized the way I want. And then that way I can go like camera 1, camera 2, and we can just zoom in on the fish as a input. And then I can stay here, and then the web quality doesn't just like stink and destroy itself. Anyways, Mike, thank you, buddy. I appreciate your support as well. Truly do. I truly do. I duly true. Thank you for the super sticker, super chat, whatever you want to call it. Ace, what's up? You've got some pretty mutt guppies that look like clowns. The juggalos would love these ones. Oh, that's cool. I'd like to see those. Um, and let's see here. PV, what's the ideal GH for Caridina? Yeah, well, you could Google it. I would say my favorite. Well, GH doesn't really matter that much, honestly. It matters a little, but your KH is what matters a lot more. And I think 6 or 7 is a good KH, and your GH being like 9 or 8 is pretty good. But they've gotten way more hardy, and things like tangerine tiger shrimp, or things like blue tangerine tigers, or crystal reds, crystal blacks, Michelins, all those kind of things. I mean, even like blue bolts, a lot of those yellow King Kongs, those can go in basically what the traditional Neocaridina range used to be. Pretty wild, like how they have adapted with selection. Let's see here. White, yellow, blue, streaks of orange on the tail and top. That's cool. Heavyweight champ. Alex, I never got dizzy and I missed the tank video updates. Okay, well, we'll do them again soon. I'll do a live stream that way for sure Friday, but maybe I'll try to sneak in another stream this week. I don't know. It depends on how many videos I make. If I only make one more video this week, then for sure we'll get it in probably Thursday. Otherwise, I don't know for sure. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll do a walk around, talk around. Because I do have some new reed tetras that I think are pretty cool and often overlooked. I don't have a whole lot of new fish. Like, you guys know most of what I've got. If you've been watching the last 6 months, not much has changed. Been kind of poor on the new fish front, and also just I haven't been breeding. And a lot of times I go to swaps, I sell fish. When I'm breeding, I meet a lot more people with fish. I trade a lot more fish. I give away fish that I'm kind of not enamored with anymore. Or if I kind of bought them for a species spotlight and to like try them out and to breed them and check it off my kind of get some experience list. My goal is to have 500 fish bred by the time I'm 40 different species, and we're in the high 300s right now. So I have a ways to go, especially because they're kind of getting harder as you run out of the easy ones to breed. But that would be like my ultimate goal, is to have 500 species under my belt. So one of those like life goal things, they really change. It's like, I'm not going to have kids, and I know that now. May adopt someday, but I'm not going to have like biological kids, and that would put a big like record scratch, pump the brakes. Like, what the heck does life mean? And now it's like, oh, it means I'm a nerd. It means I'm gonna have lots of fish babies. A lot of people are paying $30 to $40 for a pair of Neolamper Logos Similis. Yeah, I mean, the thing that okay, Ollie the pufferfish. I like that you guys are letting me know that you do like about the walk and talk around videos. Also, I want to know, I need to get out of here soon tonight. I need to get some dinner with my wifey poo. But what what is it? Are you guys getting ads during this live stream, like more than one or two? Because I went to a live stream tonight that was a fish channel that's not very, like, it's not a lot of members or anything. I got 3 ad breaks, and I got 3 ads in one in another, and 2 in the other. And I was like, no, that is insane. Like, what is going on? And I don't want that to happen to you guys. I usually put it on, like, it lets you choose, like, do you want a little bit of ads? Do you want a lot of ads? Or do you want in between? Those are your choices now on the live stream, essentially. And yeah, see, just got one. Okay. I'm okay if they want to insert 1 ad in 2 hours. All right. They can get their greedy money. But if they're putting, like, you got a couple ads, but were they separate ad breaks? Because, like, I was getting it wasn't even a 40-minute period. I got 3 separate ad breaks during a live, and that is just not tolerable. I gotta like X that. Yeah, one at the beginning or one in the middle. That is okay with me, I suppose. Maybe it depends on the country. Um, Maybe it depends on the user. I don't know. You guys are all saying different things. That's interesting. Yeah, premium, $9. You get a counter the ads, and you get like don't you get a certain number of like memberships and stuff too, even? Uh, so that's a cool way to do it. And also, um, I get paid differently when people are premium YouTube members when they have like a paid subscription, and it works well for me as well. You're ad free. How does it affect me? Me, I don't make any money from these live streams ad wise, really. Maybe like 13 cents. Like, I'm not joking. Like, I think it's like 13 cents to 75 cents if we have 100 people average for most of the stream. So I don't give a damn about them. I don't want them on, is the bottom line. But they took away your power to decide. It's all or nothing. If you turn them off completely, they don't promote the live stream as much, is the common knowledge, I guess, or the wives' tale, at least, seems to be true. Same with like when my channel, I turn ads on for videos, because I didn't even have ads for my videos at first. And I put it on the low intensity level, and you used to be able to insert where you wanted the ads, and I do only one ad max. And now they just decide that all for you, and you can turn it up to 3 levels. And I try to leave it on the lower level because I think I lose viewers anyways if I cranked up the ad frequency more. I hate, long content. It's lucky that they stick with you. I feel like that's an honor. It's a privilege that you guys want to hear what I have to say for that long, and like more than an ad seems greedy to me personally. Um, all right. Padogan, Charles Vaughn, good to see you. Putting down the baby. Well, I'm glad you got a baby doing things. You can get 4 or 5 accounts on a premium. Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. Is it not how much you want adware, etc. to work? Same as I do on SoundCloud for my DJ mixes. Something like that. Yeah, totally. Hey, you're a member now. Also, welcome new members. You've now got new listings, and in the playlist options and in the live streams. I think there's only one live stream that's like that I didn't publicly publish all the way now. But I am gonna try to do a few more private live streams in general, and try to announce those also for all y'all on Patreon and Discord. Patreon has been dead for a long time, and I value everyone, especially those of y'all who just want to give a buck and don't want YouTube to take half or whatever, or an app store. Patreon's a pretty good spot that way, and I value the 150 that comes in, or 200 that still exists on there. That means a lot to me. That's so I appreciate it. And the like 60 people, I hope they're watching. I hope it's not all people from like 8 years ago that just don't know their credit card. I should advertise for Rocket Money or whatever that thing is that takes all your old subscriptions away. I'd probably do an ad for that. I do one ad run for a company, and it'd be for that, and I'd lose all my my Patreon subscribers, and it'd counter the money I made. But yeah, I get ad sponsors all the time. Can I pick ad breaks as a creator? Not anymore. I used to be able to, and now, they make it one, so it had to be on the computer always, which is annoying because a lot of creators make a lot of content, or at least post and manage a lot of content on the go on their phones, like I do. But also you had to be on the computer to decide anything about monetization or like privatization, or public publicization, publicization. What am I saying? But yeah, it's used to be up to us. We used to be able to place where it was, and some people would put like 5 ads in there. On basically, the rule was every 10 minutes you could place an ad, one, and you could have one at the end and one at the beginning. So you could have an ad every 10 minutes, and a lot of creators would do, like Joey. He said do max ads, and it's 2, and every other one would be skippable, and every second one would be 30-second non-skippable. That's the max. I have it set right now on, you get 3 choices as a creator now, which is, or 4 maybe. No ads, no revenue for the channel. And that doesn't, that's not great. Turn off all the super chats, all the monetization and everything. Or you can say low intensity ads, or medium, or high. And even when you have it set to low, some days they seem to play more than others. And different people get different amounts depending on how much you watch anyways, etc. I think they play more ads for those who are here every day. For those who are here frequently, I think they play less ads, but it's not all the time that they're here. That this is like my theory, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, it's kind of interesting how all that works. Show us your fish. Yeah, I didn't show you guys a single fish tonight, and I'm not going to. Actually, I'll show you a picture of my new fish. And I can go like this. Hey, there's the fish tanks over there. There's the main one in the living room, and my tripod's up right next to it, and my lights, and a bucket. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see here. Hey, George, what's up, buddy? Good to hear. Good to see you. Good to hear me. We want to see more Kitty. Yeah, where's the kitty? Kitty, come here. Sumi. By the way, look at this Papua New Guinean purple spotted gudgeon. Well, this not. Oh, Chewbacca's in my living room, or in my kitchen. Why won't this focus? It's not showing you guys the colors it should, but it's an incredible fish nonetheless. What I wanted to show you guys though are these little beauties. We're gonna see them next live stream, and hopefully next video period. They'll also be on my pick of new fish I like. It's kind of part 2 to new fish in the hobby 2025. But these are the super underrated, super cheap. They're usually $1.99 to $3.99 depending on where you buy them. They're called kitty tetras, and they've got like a lavender fin with like a little bit of rose color in their midsection, and then a little bit of yellow on their caudal fin, and a little white adipose fin at the back of the tail. And then they've got a silver body with a little bit of white on their belly, and then these white long pectoral fins. And they do the little spin around and dance thing, but they look like mini Congo tetras, even though they are a South American tetra. So those are pretty cool. And they are like one of the older fish in the hobby that I think is super cool. Also, I'm going to give you another sneak peek. These butterfly loaches, or butterfly barbs rather, absolutely showstoppers. I got some really good footage of those swimming in like a biotope tank, and I'll be putting that in the next video, as well as this, which is a new collection point that Gary Lang apparently is distributing of the Gertrude, Pseudomagil Gertrudes. And come on, really, is that washed out? Come on. But anyways, so stupid. So you get the idea here. Maybe can we get it to show? No. There we go. All right. Come on, stupid. Of course it. All right, I give up. Anyways, it's a purplish colored, basically the Arutu or Gertrude rainbow fish. and it's got purple, it's got peach, and black and white, and a blue eye. Super beautiful. But yeah, it's just different than all of those standard pseudomagills that we see over the years that just have the either white or kind of pale body. Yeah. Alex, what do you think of the camera on the S24? Pretty sick, eh? Yeah, I do. I really like it. I think the S21 had the best camera setup, or 21 or 22 was the 22 maybe was the best camera setup, honestly, but I think the software is better on this now. I don't always love the 3 camera thing. I like some things about it, dislike others. I do think it does a great job with also, it's as good as a GoPro or as an iPhone or anything like that. But iPhone, I think, is better at, low light shots. Also, it takes care of blemishes and things in real time in video and stuff like that better. It's like baked in. So people are like, why does it look so smooth? Or why do people look better? Why do people blog look better in this or that, or different things like that. What newly found fish would you pick to breed in UK that hasn't been mainstream yet? All 3 of the new pseudomagills. The new pseudomagills they discovered. We're gonna close on that note because I need to get away from y'all. Y'all are toxic. No, I love you guys. Thank you so much for a great evening. And but I will show you guys that. Yeah, the S25. I'll probably try to get it when it comes out because I don't edit on the computer. I edit actually on software. I pay $50 for on the phone, but I like it better. I did it on like oh man, I'm in Florida for 3 weeks almost, or 2.5 weeks this one time, 16 days, 17 days. And I was like, oh, I gotta like keep making content. And so I started editing on the phone, and then my computer died, like laptop just kablooey, just bit the dust. And I've been using the phone since, and I have to say, not the quickest, but also it's interesting. Alex, will the kitty tetra school with the Habrosus corridor? Actually, I'm sorry, did I say kitty? It's a reed tetra. They're very, very similar. Both will school with the Habrosus and Histatus corridores. Also, this is one of the new pseudomagills. It actually looks different. I mean, that really doesn't look like any of the pseudomagills we already have. It's a little lacking on color from that first picture, but I mean, I'll take it. Also, they found a new dojo loach that's got a red tail. That's pretty cool. Also, they found a new blind cavefish. That's a pretty cool one to breed. Barb. And the new Borneo pygmy blue loach. Really like these guys. These also may be a remnant from a cave system. So they may have been like albino or colorless, like melanistic, or not melanistic, the opposite, albino. Or have the platinum gene or something, because they have like weird eyes that are very similar to eyes from underwater things. And that area that they're found in on Borneo has a lot of karst and like waterfalls and underground caves and sinkholes and stuff like that. All of Southeast Asia does, really. That continental merge there. Also, the other thing I would breed for money, look at these. Oh, beautiful. These hillstream loaches out of Borneo. That's the male with all the most red, with like red everywhere. And I mean, they're incredible. Those are really cool. These out of Taiwan, the bitterlings and the I don't know what they're calling it, what else they're calling them. Bitterlings, cyprinids. Also super, I think all those things would sell really good. All of them have reports of being breedable. Cave fish are generally very easy to breed or impossible. Like they either have some mystery we haven't figured out, or you can breed them in like a boot because they're used to breeding in a cave, which is like kind of trapped, But yeah, super cool stuff. Watch my recent episodes on new fish if you want to see more about that stuff. But I will continue, guys, or I will continue to update you guys whenever, every few weeks as new fish come out. We always cover that stuff on this channel. So, uh, yeah. I'm trying to post the official Fishery Discord and it won't post. Okay, hold on one sec. Let me grab a link that will, because Discord is the most annoying platform about that. It drives me nuts how often the link is broken or the link is not accepted or whatever. There's some issue. All right, hold on. So come on, take me there. I want to go there. Okay, Fishery. Invite people. Yeah, I want you to come. Expires in 7 days. No, never expire. No limit. Generate a new link. All right, let's hope this copy. All right, let's hope this one works for us on the live stream. We'll find out. Try that one, ladies and jelly spoons, ladles and jelly spoons. Hey, Mary Kay, what's going on? I'm about to build a small fish room. Do I take the chance and drill drain holes in the Aquarium 20 longs I just purchased? Is that glass trustworthy? Mary Kay. Thank you so much for the super chat, Mary. And I would say no. Yes, the Aquarium is probably actually trustworthy. The bigger sizes are manufactured better. Over time, I'm learning this now. Aquarium is a US brand made in Wisconsin, I believe. And that's historically. And their top of the line stuff used to be made in the US and some of their small stuff. The stuff that was hard to make look nice to smoothly caulk it with silicone. And then the glass shortage that happened right before the lockdowns and COVID and stuff, there was a boom in real estate and skyscraper production, which made low iron glass hard to find. So they changed their glass during that. The dollar per gallon sale persisted, but they stopped including certain ones. And during that time, we found out that they had been getting glass from China and then putting it together here, the glass and the rim molded. And then they used, American silicone. They assembled it here. So it's made in the US, sourced in China. Then we started seeing tanks that said made in China for the dollar per gallon sale. Then all the time. Then we saw made in Mexico. And then we found out, okay, some of the tanks are made in Mexico, but not all, just the small ones. And it's gotten very convoluted. And now they're Skeptical Aquatics did a video on it, and he got someone on the phone that agreed to be recorded that seemed to be claiming that a good number, anyways, of their tanks are still made in America or assembled in America. I thought that not to be the case. But long story short, the glass has been changing a lot. The glass in any of the tanks that are set up for the dollar per gallon sale, which includes the 20s, not the best in the world. If you have a good ability to cut glass, you're probably fine. If you haven't done this before, maybe not the easiest one to start on. Also, I know if you're in the US, it's a lot cheaper than overseas. If you're getting that tank and you got it overseas or you got it in Canada, somewhere else it might be a little bit more, and you don't want to bust that because then you're out of luck, right? You're screwed. So I would say you could. I wouldn't personally with all the changes that have gone on. I've seen a lot of leaky Aquarium tanks recently. Lower quality build for sure is very common on certain ones. And then also, the other part is that there's other ways around that by doing overflows and or just a siphon into a bucket that has a floating ball valve. That's another way you could do it. And you could do that, or you could have it so that it overspills into a trough. If you need to do a completely automated water change type setup, those are all options you could do. But I don't know if you really want to do a long term and have it set up. Yeah, I understand. I've never even had a water change system like that. I would love one. I planned to do one for this house, and it just didn't happen because of all the chaos of moving and stuff. And we just had to do the tanks and move all these fish and keep them alive and all that. And they just got put in before I had the time to build all the stuff for them first. You know, it just like overwhelmed the process. If you've never done it, yeah, maybe pass for now. Um, get a Python if you don't have one already. Obviously, those are really helpful. Or get a little like fountain pump and then attach like some not the airline grade tubing, but like larger gauge, 1/2 inch radius diameter diameter 1/2 inch diameter to 1 inch diameter hose tubing, or one of those standard sizes, and then get the little adapter for the pump. Just put it over that. You can put it in your bathtub. You can put it in a pre-dechlorinated tub, or a ICB tote is another good way to go, where you fill that up with either RO water or mineralized water. It depends on, I don't know how crazy you're getting with it, or if you're doing shrimp, or if you're doing black water or salt water or riff cichlids. But if you need to treat it all first, I actually might lean more towards that than the automated system. Hydra makes a Python knockoff that's like half the price, and you like it. Yeah, I think that theirs is pretty decent. They've made a couple over the years. I've seen one Hydra that you like swing basically, and that was like a long while back, but that was kind of like a quirky, cool one that I wish I still had. I threw it out when it cracked, assuming they'd be around for a while. But they also have another one that's like, it looks like one of those old squirt guns that you pump, kind of that gets it going like that. And then they have another one where you like flip thing over, and it's got like a whole nozzle and attachment thing to clean as well, to go so it can go in or out. But yeah. Oh, you have a Python. All right. Well, that helps a little bit. All right, you guys. I have got to get out of here. I love you all. You stuck around. We did 2 hours. Thank you so much for the generosity this hour. I'm sorry for my complaining about healthcare and stuff, but we're on an upward trajectory for the first time. My cultures came back. Also, because I promised, Sumi the cat, her cultures came back negative, so she does not have any worms or parasites due to the fact that she got fleas on her. And I just found out about 10 minutes before the stream. Honey, I didn't know until just now when I started streaming. But I will go get her to say goodbye. She's in the bed now. I don't care if she's sleeping and as happy as can be. She is a cat, and she is for entertainment and my happiness and those things alone. She's not sentient, and her happiness should be my happiness. No, if she's really peaceful, I'm not going to get her. But let's go see if we'll be saying goodbye on Asumi now.
Wasn't?
No, she's not sleeping at all.
What are you doing?
She was cleaning herself on your pillow in a weird spot. Sumi says hi, everybody. Hi, everybody. She's even got. He has a dry little nose. I can feel her little dry nose. But yes, this is Tsum the Destroyer. I almost named her Shiva. I still want to name her Shiva. But she also has a unnaturally lifelike resemblance to an Austrian fellow that wants to give his heart to you and you and you. Hey. She's never done that before. She just like slapboxed me in the face. She really doesn't want to be on stream and called and compared to that man. She's a Jewish kitty, I think. And by the way, I'm Jewish. I get to make those jokes. Anyways, we laugh. We have fun here. I Hope you all have a wonderful evening. Kitty cat, where are you going? Go up, not down. And I'll see you guys later. Oh, cat. And I hope you have a lovely evening. Your fish are eating or not. I mean, whatever you want them to be doing, that's what I hope they're doing. Zionist kitty. Yeah, anyways, love the cat. Love your animals. Love your people. And I love you guys. Thank you for making this channel what it is. And I appreciate all the views. Go watch my most recent video if you haven't watched it. I know it's kind of clickbaity, but it's important. I think I have something to say that's important there. I hope I do, in the fact that our education is being curated and fed to us, and we are not engaging with our education. We're not thinking about the things we want to learn and discover on a daily basis, and we need to be. That should be the way we learn. We should use AI and search engines and computers as a tool for learning, and we should learn together and help each other as a community here, and believe in sources and fact checking, and not the fact that whatever comes up on the first page of Google or in the AI rendered result on Google is the truth. We need to do better than that and engage with the information, and then form your opinion, whatever it may be, because we all have time for that. All right, guys, have a good night. Much love. Mike, I will leave that there. I'm assuming you're talking about Mario. I don't know anything of what you speak of, but she was an American girl raised on her promises.